Welcome to the channel. Building overseas doesn't have to be a nightmare. My goal is to help you make that dream a reality. Expect weekly tips on the process of building that dream home and the lifestyle it brings. So check out my videos, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. What a 3 days of something else, right? I hope everybody's doing good. Check in, let me know where you at. You probably have seen the title of the topic. I think it's going to be a good topic. Have some data to share with you guys. We're going to compare the USD to the Ghana Cedi rate for 9 years, and also the inflation, right? To see what else is happening, and why maybe we shouldn't panic too much. And then I have two solutions. One, I will need all of you who are building to co-sign it, to be able to bring the material cost and those things down. And the other one, we may have to pressure the government to make another decision so that we don't get killed with the appreciation of the cedi and the devaluation of the dollar, right? Whew. Uh, if you were like me, I tried to save money 3 days ago and I thought there's something wrong. The calculations were way off. And people start checking in with me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing the same thing, right? Within 3 days, the city has gained over 40%, and the dollar has lost its value over 40%, all in 3 days, right? Which is very, very fast. But I think once we go through the data, it will make sense, and then we can just talk about some of the things we can do. Okay. So let me give a few shout outs. Love you. Thank you. I hope everything is good with you. I haven't heard from you in a while. Leslie, I appreciate you joining always. Thank you. Village Boy, I hope everything is good. Okay, so let me know how you feel about the cedi stuff, right? The rapid appreciation of the cedi and the rapid decline or devaluation of the dollars. And it's no joke, right? It's no joke. I've never seen anything like that quickly. But so let's do this. I'm going to share the data and then we'll take it from there. Okay. So here's the data I put together a couple of days ago, pulling from a bunch of sources. I'll put a link. When I'm done with the video, I'll put a link to where I get the data from and all kinds of stuff. They are pretty good. So this is not like Johnny in the basement data. It is from reputable institutions. Okay. All right, let's do this. Okay. If you can see the spreadsheet, please give me a thumbs up. If you can read it, let me know. Then other than that, okay. So let me know if you can read what is up there with the spreadsheet. Presumption is that you guys can see it and read it. All right. So we do with a starting point 2014. So that's where we're gonna begin our data to compare it for every year after that, right? So, and this is just the average, on the third column here is just the average. Okay, thank you, DOT. So these are averages USD to Ghana cedis, right? That's the average, except on November 14th day, which is one day. And then so I'll get through that, but everything else is average. So 2015, average USD to Ghana cedis was 3.7, right? So that brought the year-to-year increase to 18%. But I also want you to pay attention to the far right column, which is the inflation, right? To see the increases that we got, the dollar being stronger, you can compare that to inflation to see how well we were doing. So, year-to-year increase 2015 was 18%, inflation 17%, right? So not too bad. 2016, 3%. We're getting killed with inflation at 17.4%. 17, 4.4. You can see the pattern, right? So maybe 2017, we can say we broke even. But as you go further, you can see that most of the time, except maybe 2019, that we are actually on the upside because inflation was much lower than the gain on the currency, right? So this is just USD, okay? Now, December 15th, a few days ago, if you're like me, I woke up and it was like 8 point something, 8.25, 8.5, 55, 8.75, depending what you were looking at. So the average for this year as of January 1st, 2022 to December 15th, the average of the USD to Ghana cedis was 8.5. Okay, 8.5. So that was an increase from the year before. So if you look at that, what was it, 45% increase? But then look at inflation, right? So inflation is about 50%. 50%. And so the forecast for the end of the year is going to be about 55%. I hope it doesn't go that far, right? So you can see that the thing we are facing more is the inflation. That is a big deal. So the city is strong, the dollar is weaker now, but if inflation in Ghana can go lower, it will still be a good thing for us. The question is that prices of commodities and materials are still at the same price. They have not adjusted, and if they have adjusted, it's slightly, not 50%. I'm hearing something about 50%, right? Iron rod, a ton of iron rod is still 8,500, right? So we need iron rods to come down to about 5,500 CDs for us to be okay. Now, if you look at November 14th, the one day, so this is the highest so far this year. It could change. We have a few days to go. That was 14.54. That is 147% increase. This is insane. It is just insane, right? You cannot run a country like that. Okay. This is just insane. Um, and then, inflation still be about, 50% now. So that is where I'm getting the data from. I will when I'm done with the video, I'll post those links to in the description bottom so you can see that. Okay. So now that is the challenge we find ourselves in, right? Yeah. So yeah. So some people got lucky. I know some people were waiting. Oh, it's gonna go to 15. It's gonna go to 16. Some people say it's gonna go to 20, and then we had to eat up the cost. So, but most people, and you remember I did a video a couple of weeks ago, and I said that this December we should not be going to Ghana and have too much fun. The Borgas, the guys that went there to flex this December are calling me up because their dollars and euros and pound sterling has been slashed. Uh, they've been devalued by over 40%, and that was something they didn't expected. So they are coming back. I checked with Delta United, and they are saying the plane is full. People are coming back. They're not even gonna make it through Christmas. They're heading back to UK, Germany, US, Italy, Japan, and Australia, and all those places. They're heading back. And when I told them not to do that, they said I was jealous because I was not going to have fun in Ghana. Of course, I was a little bit jealous, but I'm not jealous anymore. Okay, so it is hard to plan this thing. So let's look at that 3.4. That's great. That was about what is it, a week and a half ago at that rate. So now waiting on building materials to come down. So I will share a few things what we can do. I think we can do this, but we have to do it together to bring the prices of materials to come down. We all have to do it together. It's going to be a sacrifice. Call that 16. That's awesome. Yep, a week before the madness. Same the problem. So that is the inflation, right? So the price still being the same, that is the inflation. And I'll explain to you what I think might happen um, um, from 10 years of data. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so now let's do this. This is what I think, solution wise. This is what I think. So I'm not really worried about the appreciation of the city per se. I'm looking more at the inflation, right? So I'm looking at the price adjustment that will correspond with the increase of the city and the decrease of the dollar, right? So one thing we can do if we are building, because I think this is what is happening. There are people that bought materials at a higher rate. They already pay more money for these materials. And I don't think they're gonna reduce the prices right now. I don't think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna hold off to some time. I give them maybe I'm giving about middle of January, the price is gonna start coming down when people that went to spend infuse money into the economy will be back. But I don't know how far it's going to go. If we want to have an input or we want to be able to push the numbers down, what we have to do, there's two things. There's one, if we can pressure the government to reduce import duties, which is going to be very, very difficult because they make a lot of money and Ghana needs to create revenue a lot. And that is one of the main reasons we are in the mess we are in. You can't borrow all the time. And we have exceeded thing. What is it? We borrow about 80% to run the country. It's insane. You no, doesn't work like that. And so they need to create our revenue. So that'll be a challenge for them to reduce the import. I think if they bring the import duties to 50%, that will help because a lot of the materials are imported. The iron rods, the cement, they might be imported. So that will reduce that cost. So that would be the one thing. But the other thing I think that we can control now is basically hold off. Um, if we all can hold off for a couple of months on this project, they have no choice, but cement will have to come down because they can only store it for about 3 months. Um, so they will have to, in about a month or two, they will have to push those numbers down because there'll be more supply than demand. And so, but if we are buying it, or most of us are buying it, then they're going to maintain those prices at cement being 95 to 100 CDs, ton of irons being 8,500. They're going to keep it at that level. By the way, can you click on the like button? I appreciate that for the algorithms. Please, everybody, just click on the like button. Thank you. And so, if we can hold off, I'm holding off. I am holding off because I can be buying stuff 40% more. I can't imagine bringing 40% additional to buy materials. I'm just gonna hold off. I'm holding off to probably like 6 months to see what happens. But I think if we can hold off for 2 to 3 months, the prices they'll have no choice to reduce these prices for the building materials for especially the iron rods and the cement. Okay, the sand they can probably hold it. But those things we have to do that, but we have to do it in mass. So it can't be 10% of the people doing it. And I know it's very tricky because people are in different stages of the project. Um, but I think that if you got the money like that, then you got it like that. But I think for most people, if we want, because the prices have to come down, they just have to come down. They have to make sense. So other than that, it's just that 6, 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 square feet home is going to be it's going to be even much more expensive, right? So that is what the video I did last week becomes relevant about understanding these things. I look at these numbers all the time. I didn't want to bore you with spreadsheets. So I look at stuff like that before I make decisions to spend in Ghana and stuff like that. So I kind of like figure, what it might happen. So now goes to one. Hey, I'm against GoFundMe. Okay, DOT, no GoFundMe. I'm gonna block it. Okay, so we are going to come up with ways to be diligent, to be intelligent, to understand the financial situations, so that we don't do GoFundMe as not a strategy. We don't want that. I know you're probably joking, but and stuff like that. But I think it's like the data will make sense that what we want, even if the dollar, if it becomes 1-to-1 ratio, the question that we're still looking at inflation is the inflation that we want. We want that thing to come down, right? We really want that thing to come down. So at the end of it is the value, the purchasing value. That is what is important. Not, it can be one CD to 20. It can be $1 to 20 CDs. But if inflation is like 75%, it doesn't matter what that rate is. So it's the value. So if the materials can come down, then we'll be able to do that. So the bottom line is this will hurt Ghanaians. It is. And I think the first 2 months, it was hurting the locals. We were benefiting. Yes, you might know you were benefiting. And I was benefiting. And now we hurt it, right? So it's the inverse. So we are hurting now. But I think if we can hold off, we can drive the materials down, because they have no choice but to reduce the price if nobody's buying them. If there's a ton of supply and there's no demand, they will have to uh, bring it down. Okay. So hopefully the data makes sense. That I think, what is my thought? I think dollar might go, it might go back down a little bit um, at the end of the year. The most I think it might go is 5, but I think the first quarter next year is going to go up. Is going to go up a little bit, and because this is all speculation, right? The 3 billion loan from IMF, that has they have approved on the staff level agreement. If with a presumption that Ghana is going to implement everything in agreement before they get a loan, with 3 billion is not a lot. The national debt between, depending on the data you are using, is between 44.2 to 56.4 billion dollars, right? $3 billion is not going to do anything. But I think it's just going to pay out some of the debt, um, and then maybe build a little bit confidence into the Ghanaian economy, for investors to stuff like that. So, but at any point, if they decide, if the leadership decide not to implement some of those things, or they negate those things, we can come back to. They can, the city will be downgraded again, and we're gonna go through another roller coaster again. So for me, it's just like, it sucks right now. It sucks right now, but I think that sometimes, when you have history and stuff like that, you put everything in context for you, and you being strategic, right? It's like, if you have a place to stay already, and maybe this is your second home or stuff like that, maybe you can wait a little bit and see. Um, I think I'm making the adjustment because last year I put a lot of money into this project. And I said this year, I said, listen, I already got a place to stay already, and there's a lot of things happening in the world. And so you have to be smart. Now, if you live in the US, inflation is not gonna go to 50%, because the feds, they have a fiscal monetary system that regulate the interest rate and all those things to make sure that inflation is out of control. I would assume something like that exists in Ghana. Uh, at least it's inefficient, or those people enjoy putting money in their pocket. So if you end up settling at 10, 11, which is possible, and then the inflation drops to about, half of the 50%, 20%, somewhere in there, I think it will be like manageable. But if inflation is still, I think inflation will go up a little bit before first quarter next year, and then see what happens. Whether the implementation is going to be effective, whether they're gonna these people actually do their job in Ghana. We're gonna see. So if they move towards the right direction, things gonna change a little bit. If they're not, we're gonna be back with a whole different kind of another roller coaster stuff. Okay, so hopefully um, your heart is at rest. Now, one of the things too is like um, some of the companies that do cross-border payments, like TransferWise, now called Wise, they have suspended sending money to Ghana because of the uh, volatility of the Cedi. Because now, when you send it, by the time it's being processed over there, the Cedi has changed, right? So they have suspended that. So I know SendWave and other people, other companies, and payment systems are still working now. But I know TransferWise has suspended to Ghana, and it makes it difficult because if you live in Ghana and you have money in account, because you can hold money in there and use it as a bank. Okay, if you have money over there, you want to send it to yourself, you just can't, right? You just can't send it. You can't move the money, so you probably got to move the money out to your bank account or tie it to your bank account and then move it to another way, which is very inconvenient. So and stuff. So you might say good luck controlling the inflation in Ghana. Ah, but you believe in miracles, don't you? So I think for me it's about understanding what is going on, and putting yourself in a place to see how it doesn't really affect you that much, and also know when to do projects, when to pull back, when to invest, and sometimes you get lucky, right? Sometimes you get lucky too, especially those who bought things a week ago, 2 weeks ago, compared to 3 days ago. So sometimes work, but I think for us we have to pay attention to those things, and I think these are the things we need to pay attention to than the other videos that we pay attention to, because this one impacts our pocket. And at the end of the day, nobody is putting money in your pocket, so you have to be a good advocate for yourself and know your financial strength, right? So yeah, so rad planner. So in theory, true, right? It's true in theory, but one of the things is that there's two things happening, right? In order for you to do that, you need a domestic capacity, and or you need a domestic capacity to be about 60-70% of the importation of specific goods, right? So if you don't have that, then people will still need the goods, right? So you have to develop that, yes. And good leaders actually have a national agenda and they put these things in place. But the honest thing is that the importations, there's a lot of people in the political sphere that actually benefit from importation of goods, and they do that by crushing the um, domestic companies, and making it not lucrative for them to even want to compete. You can see that in the chicken industry, right? In which if you do that at a certain scale, your price, the importation of this dead chicken that has been infused with all kinds of chemicals. Who knows what the heck are in them? Preserved for many, many months. When they come in there, you buying your chicken. I'm just using these numbers, maybe 20 cities, and the one import is 10 cities. If you're running a restaurant, you know, see what happens, right? So, in theory, it will help, but it takes a human being who cares and who's competent to put things in place. And this is probably going to be something that it's not an overnight thing. It's going to be several years. But yeah, thank you for joining here. Um, we regulate the price of cement, iron rods in Ghana. Can I take this in to bring the prices down? It's a combination of stuff. The government also have a stake in this industry as well. And so the government meaning not just the upper people in the government, also the politicians also are involved in that. And they want to make more money, right? They want to make more money. And so I think what they're trying to do now in the next month or two, they will see if people can still buy the materials at the rate it is now before it start dropping a little bit, because they will say those people when they imported those materials that pay all importing duties that were very high, and the cost to purchase it was high, and so they need to make some of the money, or need to make the money back before they can reduce. And that's what I'm saying. If we leave it to them, there's no incentive for them to bring these prices down. I think we just have to let those things sit, let them sit on the market. Sit enough. The retail suppliers will start, reducing the cost to get them out of the system. So it's not something that the government can make announcement and say the price of cement is like 50 cities now, and stuff like that, because they do own some of those. They are invested interest in there, so it's kind of like they have personal interest in that, so they don't want to do that too. At least not at a level that is very, very meaningful, right? Now, this is what I know. Looking at the data from 10 years of building materials, um, I don't think it has ever dropped 30%. It will drop. I believe it will drop. The question is how far it's gonna go. So it's not gonna. So I think maybe it might go 15, max 20% drop, but it's not gonna cement. I don't see cement going to like 55, 60. No, I don't think so. I mean, it'll be awesome though. I'm hoping it goes down so we can save some money with our project. But it's not realistic. But that's Ghana too, though, right? That country, man, is everything is possible. I'll just put it as that. So um, we just have to wait and see, um, and then maybe take the money and invest it here somewhere in some places that we can get a good return, and stuff like that. So that is yeah, that's some of the stuff. So if you have any questions here, um so like I said, money is limited for most of us. So we have to make sound decisions, not emotional decisions. And we have to that is why I keep going back to the size, the layout of a size thing. Because could you imagine, if you are flowing a 5,000 square feet decking now, and you have to buy cement and iron rods right now to do that, you know, that is a lot of money. Assuming you want to also do it right, right? That's a lot of money. And sometimes we don't know, you start a project, think this money, but you can't control all these things. And they end up, and that's what I learned over 10 years of building. I've built continuously for the last 10 years, it says, except 6-month break. So I've always looked at the numbers, and you always go over. You always go over the budget, because you're building it in several years. and inflation and all those things kicking in and stuff like that. So layout, you can still do a beautiful dream home for 3,000, 3,500 square feet. You can still do that and then keep some money in your pocket. It's really, really important. I'm really advocate for that. Because other than that, man, it's you can be all this stuff and be broke, and be poor, and then not have not any money to take care of things and make your life more stressful. In the end, I mean, it's like, did you really need a 10,000 square feet? Not really. Um, you don't. Most of us, you don't. We're not moving back right now, and the maintenance is no joke. And if I say maintenance, if you are building a house, 6, 7, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 square feet now, and I say the cost of maintenance, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. You wouldn't. You wouldn't know the cost it would take for you to maintain that home until you actually talking to people who have finished their home. They have finished their home. They're not doing stuff. They have finished their house. And they are living in there for several years, and then they can have a data, because you can't do 1 year data. You need several years to say, okay, on average, I pay XYZ monthly or year to maintain this house. Or you yourself finish the house and start living there for several years. Then you can be like, wow, I'm paying this thing. But if you are building, you have no idea. You there's certain things you will not know yet. You will get there, but you are not going to find out yet. And I think that is a challenge for some people. It's not always relative. There's experience, and then there's knowledge that you gain from experience. Um, if somebody hasn't bought a land before and built before, they don't have any experience to tell you how to buy a land. So if you're saying that buying a land is a little bit tricky, got all the stuff, and they have certain opinion, it's just an opinion. It's not based on any facts and experience, right? So give yourself time. You learn what you need to learn, but be smart and take the mistakes of those who have gone from you before you, because that's what I always do. So then you don't waste your money and your time, right? So um, that is the best way. You do not have to experience every negative thing that is going over there. You don't have to. Some people want to though, because ego, but you don't have to. You can figure somebody who's done something, who's gone that far and say, and if it's a service, you pay them. Okay. And then get you accomplish what you want to do. All right. Here's our website. You know how to get in touch with me. Um, and in the meantime, let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see what happens. Unless you got the money and you want to write it out, just write it out. But I think if we hold off a little bit, um, if nobody's buying these iron rods and cement for a month or two, I think they will have no choice. They will have no choice, because after the third month, cement is not going to be useful. They will have no choice to bring it down. Right. So the government of Ghana will do whatever, those politicians will do whatever they want to do. We can control them to some extent, because we can't get majority of the people. And I think like even the poorer the person is, the more they actually even support the government. It's amazing. So sometimes you gotta let people pay for the choices they make. Don't rescue them. Okay. So that is what we can do. And then be smart. I think when yes, we have to do it together. I'm holding to 6 months. Unless the only time I'm gonna move is like if all of a sudden the price come really down, then I'm gonna get it. But I'm not doing that kind of stuff. Mhm. Yeah, being skeptical is in that part of the world is a good thing. I mean, I also think too is like that is why You get a lawyers involved, and get a good lawyer though, not a cheap lawyer. Get a good lawyer, and then make sure you got everything written down. The partnership agreement, what it looks like, the breakages and stuff like that. Yeah, so you have to do that. Even if I'm doing I don't care who it is. I'm doing business with in Ghana. We still get the lawyers involved and stuff like that because you know stuff happens. We belong in Africa. Yep. Yes. 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 So I think we if we all do that, because at a certain point, those there'll be so much supply they got to get rid of them. So we got to do that together, though. So help spread the message. Um, uh, you know, it is what it is, and then but we need a collective. Majority of us holding off, and I think even if we hold off for 2 months, it will push it down, and then benefits the collective, right? The people in Ghana, it's still expensive for them to buy cement. If it's expensive for us, it's definitely expensive for them. Okay, so let's hold off a little bit. That's my thoughts in that. Um, yep. So you're doing roofing, yep, yep, and stuff like that. So you can get off cement. Um, yep. So visit, plan well. It's like this thing is like it's not a rocket science, but it involves a lot of attention to details and understanding a few things and puzzle and position yourself at the right time to maximize your money, maximize your build and all that stuff. Okay. Insightful mind. You can reach out to me. We'll figure something out. It's all about agreement. What they put into the agreement. What lawyer they use. The language is important, and so there's a lot of things they have to think about, right? You have to think about. So we can draft something for you guys from here to lock them in, and then when you go over there, the lawyer just has to, the partner has to, agree to those terms and stuff like that if they want to go into partnership and stuff like that. Because sometimes people do forget some of the details, and then we'll give you a good lawyer down there in Ghana, and then if that's what you want to do. But I think there's always a way around things, and, stuff like that. So trust me, we've done negotiations with other people here, even tech companies, and it took us like 6 months to agree on the terms, but eventually we got what we wanted because either that or no deal, right? So sometimes it takes time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we know a lot about Kaswa. I'm in the area. My business partners in the area, so we know the land disputes. We know the politics over there, all kinds of stuff. So just reach out to us. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what he wants, and maybe we can give you guys like it's gonna be a pay service. We can give you a draft. We can connect to a lawyer down there who's very good and stuff like that, and get things put him in a best position. Be the stake. Wow, it's been a long time. I hope all is well. And so if you miss anything, I'll in the beginning of the live stream, I share the rates of increase between the USD to Ghana cedis for the last 9 years, and also the inflation. So if you missed that, please go back and recheck that out. Makes sense to you. And I appreciate you guys clicking the like button. Let's get everybody for the like button. And then please send the videos. And my rally is that we hold off on these materials for about 2 3 months, and that will force them to bring their prices down, stuff like that. So I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks to the ancestors and divine, I'm good. Very good. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, I'm trying not to keep this too long, but there's a way. We took the hits now. We enjoyed the last 2 months. It's kind of like we're paying back a little bit, but I think there's a way. This is not something that we have to be too discouraged. I think um, sometimes that's what life is. Knocks you in your face, and you figure things out and move forward. But it sucks. It sucks. But like I said, we're in a building, and when the building is a metaphor for life, we're not um, um, the YOLO life is only for the people that have earned it to live like that. For most of us, we're still building ourselves, building our finances, building our legacies to be able to have a comfortable life in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and whatever extra years we have. Um, so that is what it is, right? So I wish you well. Thank you very much for checking in, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Spend your money wisely. Keep a lot in your pocket. Let the calls from Ghana. Don't pick them up. It's December. Call them back in February 28th. And okay. So anyway, thanks. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. All right. Share the video, please, and then click the like button. Thank you. Bye bye.